Welcome to the Get Sculpted podcast. We're your hosts, Tiana,
Jordana,
and Marilyn.
This podcast is all about cutting through the noise and giving you the real deal on fat loss, muscle building, and what it really takes to build your 2.0 sculpted self, inside and out. Our motto is to work smarter, not harder. We'll break down science-based and actionable strategies to optimize your metabolism, ditch the diets, and create a sustainable, fit, and healthy lifestyle that actually works for you. So if you're ready to get stronger, not just skinnier, and embrace a body you love, hit that subscribe button and let's get sculpted. Hello and welcome to the Get Sculpted pod. It is Coach T here on a solo episode, but I'm going to be interviewing and chatting with Coach Rachel. Coach Rachel is on the Get Sculpted coaching team. She works with me directly, and she is a holistic nutritionist, a personal trainer, and she's a busy mom. She's a mom like many of the clients that we serve. And one thing that is really her superpower is being able to connect with women on making their fitness goals a reality for this phase of life, not just where they were in their 20s or when they had different types of priorities, but really making it a focus when you do have a career and you have children to take care of. Rachel and I got into some really good chats about how fitness has evolved, how we both shifted our approach in terms of what we're doing for exercise, how we're eating, and how we've adapted that as we become moms. So I know you're going to get a lot out of this one, and I can't wait for you to listen. So Rachel, I think you and I have known each other for 13 years, right?
Yeah, 13 years.
13 years. We met in fitness school, and then we both went to the same holistic nutrition school. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of changes in that time. We both competed. We both had kids in that time. Yeah. And a lot of things have evolved, obviously, needless to say. Like we went from our early 20s to, I'm trying to think of how old was I in 2012? We were in our early 20s.
I think 21, 22.
Yeah. So lots changed, obviously. And yeah, take us back to like your fitness journey and tell us about where you started and kind of how that's evolved.
Yeah, before becoming a mom, my fitness journey revolved around bikini competitions and HIIT style training. I remember my very first workouts were Body Rock TV sessions. I don't know if you know them.
Who does that?
The hosts have changed over time. I can't remember the names, but yeah, I did those when I was in my teens. So, but nice. It's changed over time. But yeah, they were very short, intense body weight type circuits. And then my passion for health actually started in my teens as well, because I struggled with acne and I was getting sick all the time and I had low energy and just felt frustrated because of that. So I tried every restrictive diet I could find, even eating only apples and almonds.
Oh my God.
At one point, because literally everything apparently caused breakouts. Like Google told me that. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to eat these two foods until my skin clears up. And it actually did work, but I was obviously nutrient deficient, missing protein, B vitamins, because I didn't have nutrition knowledge at the time. Mm-hmm. And I know that now, but at the time I was willing to do anything to clear up my skin. So eventually that led me to study at George Brown College where we met. And then years after that, I went to the Institute of Holistic Nutrition and became a holistic nutritionist on top of the personal training. And then from there, we did our first show together and I fell in love with having that clear goal and a structured plan and visible results. So that's kind of how it all started.
Because I remember now thinking back, you had to drive quite some way to get to school. And I think you went to and did fitness classes like before class at 8 a.m., if I remember correctly. You were doing like a 5 a.m. and a 6 a.m. I think you were doing doubles.
I don't remember, but I think I was doing quite a bit. And yeah, I was driving very far. I think some days I would drive 3 hours to get home from school.
Oh my God.
Because of traffic, because I think I was living up north at the time and I had to drive all the way downtown. So yeah, I would leave at like 5 a.m.
Yeah, I think we were both doing a lot of classes and I think you were like, I'm going to find the earliest ones possible. You're like, all right, I found a 5:30 and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I was doing that. Yeah.
I feel like we're not old, but like nowadays people have F45 and whatever, Orange Theory. Like we were doing the Good Life classes, both of us.
Yeah. And you were teaching them too.
I was teaching them. So very similar. Yeah. I was doing a lot of cardio, but I thought that was the best because I'm like, this is making you the sweatiest. Yeah. This is the most effective.
Exactly. That's why I started with the HIIT style workouts. And I thought that I needed to sweat as much as possible, be like out of breath as possible, like
Hmm.
you working out to the point of feeling sick. Like I thought that's what you had to do.
Let's talk about that because we just talked about recently
Mhm.
about competing because I did a competition, then my second one, you also competed. And then we're just talking about how even competing has evolved.
Mhm.
Okay, let's talk about what that was like when you were in the
Yeah.
extremes of competing.
During competing, I would do my cardio and I would just work out, just do the highest level I could, just to sweat as much as possible, be out of breath as possible. So I would push myself to the point of feeling like I was going to die on the Stairmaster. Like I remember going at like top speed for 30 minutes straight. And I was like, no, this is what I got to do.
That's like a form of torture, honestly.
Oh, it was, but I was pushing myself because I'm like, I'm competing. I got to do this. And I would do that before a workout and after. So I would do that fasted and then eat in the change room, like cold egg whites and oatmeal that was all like dried up. So, and then go back and do another 30 minutes of that after my strength workout. So I would do it all at once instead of breaking it up. Yeah, that's just what I thought in my mind. I was like, I just need to kill myself at the gym. So I would just really push myself to the limit.
Let's talk about the effects of that too, because I think the
Hmm.
listeners might not be competing or anything, but
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of going to extremes with both of our clients, right? So talk to me about what happened when you were in the extreme deficit, doing a high amount of cardio. You obviously got really lean, but what happened after?
Yeah, I actually was sick on the day of my show. My immune
Mm.
system was down. My hormones were messed up because I had very little body fat. And after that came the food cravings, the binging. I was just eating everything in sight. I put weight on so fast. I feel like within a week, I was just blown up because I was just eating everything possible. I didn't have any strategic plan afterwards, but because I was restricting myself for so long, I
Hmm.
was just eating everything that I could, basically. So it was just not healthy. It wasn't a healthy mindset around food. I didn't have that good relationship with food at the time either. So yeah, it was hard because I was just kind of going up and down in this cycle and thinking that I had to do that to achieve the body that I wanted, which is so far from the truth.
Yeah. And now, like in the tail end of you being where you are and coaching women and like
Hmm.
doing it a totally different way, talk about your evolution from that. So obviously, you had the post show rebound. Who
Yeah.
hasn't? I know I did. And then, okay, like where are you now and how has your definition of fitness changed?
So in the past, when I was doing shows and just with fitness in general, I was just trying to be as lean as possible, as
Uh-huh.
skinny as possible. I still wanted to look muscular, but I just wanted to be as lean as I possibly could. And after I had Scarlet, my definition shifted to strength, energy, and just feeling good in my body again. I still wanted to look good, but I didn't want to do that at the expense of my own health and, be as skinny as possible. So it also became what I was modeling for her because I want her to see that fitness isn't about getting as skinny as possible or as lean as possible or burning yourself out to look a certain way. It's about building a body that you can live in fully and be able to, play with your kids and run and lift heavy and just feel confident. So, of course, we all want to look good, but there's also the other part of it, building endurance, having goals, building strength, and just overall holistic health and mental health too.
Yeah, and I hear this a lot, and I'd love to talk to you about like moms in that situation where, okay, big life change. And I think this is when people tend to fall off of their fitness game is life changes. Being a parent, obviously, really big life change. And then I find people tend to have two kind of buckets of goals. First is like, I want to feel good for me now as a 30
Yeah.
something year old woman. And then you want to feel good for your future self and your kid's future self. So like, I guess, okay, so your daughter's 5. Talk about like how that's evolved for you, like from when you first became a mom to now. Like what's been your why and what's been your game plan?
Yeah. My why is a lot of what I just said, just being the best version I can for her, being able to be a patient mom and have the energy to do things with her, and also building strength, feeling confident in my body. It's so much deeper than just looking good. And I feel like that was my only focus or only goal before. Whereas now
Uh-huh.
I have much deeper goals. I have a lot of things that I'm working towards that is not just, okay, I want to look as lean as possible. Like I want to be able to do certain strength goals and get to a certain place with my body where I feel good. And my mindset has shifted so much to where I was before. So of course, I wanted to, I guess, kind of get back to where I was before I had my daughter.
Like the pre-baby body.
Yeah, I wanted to get back to that. And I understand that. I felt that as well. But I always tell clients too, you have to remember that your body has changed a lot after having kids and it is going to be different. So rather than chasing your old body, I encourage you to think of new realistic goals that you want to achieve. And with the right training and nutrition, you'll be able to get better results that way. I mean, I noticed before I had Scarlett, I wasn't eating enough. So I wasn't really seeing that many body composition changes. And then after I had her, I saw way more changes by eating more and doing the right type of training. My body was better after I had her than before. So you shouldn't necessarily aim for that. And I've had so many clients who have told me that they've lost more weight than before they had kids or
looked better.
Yeah, they looked better or they have more energy or the wins that they've had from eating properly and training properly is just, it's crazy. And I've experienced it myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I've definitely experienced that because I feel like before you're a mom, I don't know about you, but I felt like there's a lot of time to do things. Like you can, build your business, build your body, but then when you have kids, you realize that time is finite. And I don't know about you, but it kind of awakens something that you want to be your best self. And then if you don't carve out the time to prioritize yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. And, you and I both know as people in the fitness industry why that's important, but we work with moms. So thinking about the clients that you work with who have kids, what do you feel like are the biggest challenges that they face when they're struggling to build that momentum?
Yeah, I would say the biggest challenges are lack of time. That's a big one because before I had Scarlett, I thought I had a lot of time and I thought I was busy, but I didn't realize how busy I was until I had her.
Like, girl, I was not busy.
No.
What was I busy doing?
Yes, exactly. It's funny because I remember a conversation we had. I don't know if you remember this, but I was driving you home from holistic nutrition class. And I was telling you how I was so busy. I had no time. I was like, I don't have any time because of this program. And you're, and you made a comment. You're like, wait till you have kids.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God.
So in your head, you're probably like, you don't understand what no time means.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I let out my inside thoughts, but now you get it.
Yes. Yeah, because I think at the time you had Hunter. I don't know how old he was, but he was still pretty young. So yeah, I remember you saying that. I was like, I get it now because I thought I was busy before and now it's a big change. But I would say that's the biggest challenge, just getting in the workouts and meal prep. It just often feels impossible to get in. So I feel like that's a big challenge that I hear a lot of the time. And then also low energy is another big one. And the all or nothing mindset. I used to struggle with that a lot, but I've gotten a lot better because I was like, oh, if I can't do this perfectly, then what's the point in doing it at all? And then conflicting advice is another big one. There's just so much information out there and it just can be confusing.
Yeah, I want to talk about that actually with the time because I think you made a really good point because when you make a change, it's all new to you, so it feels overwhelming. And then when you adapt, it just becomes your new normal. So I think this is a really big part of what we do with our clients because, I know this sounds kind of tough love, and it is tough love. I'm not apologizing, but people don't have a time problem. It's always time management. But that's a very real thing because in the beginning, you just don't know how you're going to integrate this into your lifestyle. And that's part of what we help our clients do is, okay, you have kids, you have a career. It feels like there's no time for you, but really we just need to restructure things. So I get what are some tips you would give the working mom who is feeling overwhelmed and like she has no time?
Yeah, I always get my clients to write down all their work and home responsibilities and their 3 non-negotiables. So these could be things like workouts, movement, nutrition, and meal prep. And you want to think of the things that are going to get you closer to your goal and then schedule these things into a calendar like any other appointment. So treat it like a dentist appointment or a doctor's appointment and get it in when you have it in your schedule. But it's not just that, it's also having a realistic plan that you can actually follow and be consistent with. Because if you're aiming to do an hour workout every day, or you're going to cook food every single day, then that's going to set you back. So having proper meal prep strategies. But I think main thing is just carving out the time first, because if you don't do that, then it's never going to happen.
Exactly. So for the listener too, I want to kind of show you guys how we do it, because this is what you need to start with. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you need to just identify what your, like you said, Rachel, your BAMs, your bare ass minimum. So for a lot of people, it's scheduling the training, making sure that you're batch cooking your food, and dedicating like pockets in your day for movement. I would say that's kind of like the thing for most people. And part of what we do as coaches is, okay, like here's your BAMs, here's how you're going to integrate that into your lifestyle. I would love to know your thoughts. I think a lot of people know, okay, I need to be eating protein, I need a calorie deficit, I need to be lifting weights, but it's kind of like, where do I fit it in? How much of it do I fit in? Right?
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's how much of that to actually do. So it's finding the time, but it's also that other part of it.
Cut through the noise.
Yeah.
What did you say? Information overload. Because people
Yeah.
have a lot of things coming at them. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm sure you have a lot of good information in your head, but you got to like sort through it and apply only what's relevant. Because a lot of these things are not relevant to you, right?
Exactly. And that can cause a lot of decision fatigue. And then you're sitting there and you're stuck. You don't even know what to do next. And then that causes you to do nothing.
Exactly. Paralysis by analysis.
Yeah. So that's a big one.
Yeah. And I think a part of it that I want to talk about too is like, okay, so moms are obviously known to be the nurturers.
Yeah.
There's the time aspect, but I think a part of it too is that they might feel guilty, or we might feel guilty for taking time for ourselves. Can you speak to how would you address someone who has that mom guilt about carving out time for their own needs?
Yeah. I always tell my clients you can't pour from an empty cup. I'm sure they hear that all the time. And if you're burnt out, it's really hard to show up as the mom that you want to be, both in the short term and the long term. And taking even a little bit of time to move your body or eat well isn't selfish. It's actually what's going to allow you to have the energy to play with your kids, to be patient, to feel good in your own skin. And from my own experience and working with hundreds of women, the amount of times I've heard moms say positive things after prioritizing themselves is amazing. Like things like, oh, I'm not snapping at my kids anymore, or my husband says I'm nicer, or I'm more productive in my job. I mean, those are always the best wins. And when you look at it that way, it's like, how can you feel guilty about prioritizing yourself? Because it's just going to affect everything in your life and everyone.
I completely agree. And I think that you can't say that enough. Like you said, you're reminding people you can't pour from an empty cup, but we need to hear it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we know it, but we have to remind ourselves that the feeling of guilt is just a feeling. It's not reality. So it's not that you're a bad person for carving out that time. And, you know, as a mom, we tell our kids, okay, you have to brush your teeth right now. You have to get ready for bed. You have to have boundaries with your time. But nobody's there to do that for us. So you can't just wait for this magical opportunity of, you know, someone's going to set me aside and say, hey, you really got to prioritize your workout. You really got to go eat your meal. You have to do that. And you have to draw the boundary for your family. And you have to basically kind of be your own mom to yourself in that sense. You have to be nurturing yourself.
I know. And that's hard to do.
Yeah.
And that's why having accountability is really helpful too.
Okay. I love this. Like the listener, if they're feeling overwhelmed or feeling like, hey, I'm the only one who kind of can't get myself together here, can you give an example of a client success story where they kind of made that shift as a mom?
Yes. Yeah. One of my clients, she used to do an hour of workouts every single day. She was eating really low calorie and she still felt exhausted and stressed and just really frustrated because her efforts she was putting in wasn't matching what she was seeing. She just wasn't seeing results. I remember her telling me that her mornings were crazy and she was getting really impatient and snappy at her kids. So we completely shifted her routine. She started waking up an hour earlier. She started getting in protein within 30 minutes of waking up, which is really easy. You could even just do a protein shake or something like that because she was skipping breakfast, which a lot of moms do. I used to do that too. But her results were amazing. The weight started coming off. She lost 20 pounds and she had more energy than she'd had in years. And another amazing win was that she wasn't snapping at her kids anymore. And she was getting her workout done first thing in the morning. Whereas before I think she was going to F45 or some boot camp classes or something. And they were an hour long or an hour and a half or something like that. She just made a complete shift in what she was doing for workouts and nutrition. And she was eating breakfast and just transformed her life and her kids too. 'Cause she wasn't snapping at her kids anymore. And the changes for her were amazing.
And I like that it's all about working smarter, not harder. That's a perfect example. She's not seeing results. She's training really hard, driving to these F45 classes, and she's feeling really frustrated. Okay, what if we can do less and do it better? That's what I always tell people. What if we did
Yeah.
workouts instead of just workouts that I'm sure your drive is there. If you're already getting to the gym, you already are motivated. But what if you could do something targeted to the areas you want to build? What if you have less time, but in that time, you're doubling down, lifting heavy, getting good quality training instead of,
Yes.
an hour of anyone and their grandma can come do this class. I mean,
Exactly. And it's just like her body composition changes. Her results were jaw dropping. Her body just changed so much. And she was doing less workouts than before.
yes, exactly. So I actually, on that note, I'd love if you could share, because I think people would love to know,
Mhm.
what does your current workout routine look like?
Yeah, my current workout routine, I'm working out in the gym right now. I do home workouts sometimes, but I aim to do 4 workouts in the gym using heavy weights, strength training based, and I do a split style type workout. So, for example, Mondays I'll do legs, and then Tuesdays I'll do upper body. It'll be an upper body split. So, like back and biceps, for example. And then Thursday I'll do the other upper body muscles. So, biceps, triceps. And then the other day I'll do another leg day. So, I'll do 2 leg days per week. So, I'll
Mm.
split it up that way. And instead of doing tons of cardio, I just focus on daily movement. I'll do incline walking, I'll walk outside, cycling, and I'm not, going at the highest level for that. It's just steady state. So I'm not doing hit workouts every single day or hit cardio, which is what I used to do.
I love that. Less intense movement, more focus on the recovery,
Mhm.
quality, more like actually like lifting properly, not just because I think when you and I trained for our shows too, it was like a lot of high reps, very long workouts and just
Mhm.
lightweight, but like it just was a recipe for like putting yourself in that hormonal dysregulation because you're training so hard with so much output and not a lot of recovery. You're not actually building muscle.
Yeah, exactly. It was not enough food. But I mean, not only that, but it was just a lot of cardio and yeah, the workouts, a lot of reps and ended up being very long. I'd be in the gym for 2 hours.
I love that. So more concise now. And then talk to me about nutrition. Like, what's that look like now?
Yeah, nutrition. I love tracking my food. I don't track my food all the time, but if I have a specific goal, I do like to do that just to make sure that I'm on track with my protein and what I want to hit with everything and the food that I'm trying to hit. So I still track my food. It's something that I started doing after I had my daughter because I wanted to have flexibility and I realized that I couldn't keep doing restriction. I couldn't eat the same thing every day. So doing macros was life-changing
Yes.
for me and it's been life-changing for so many clients too, just having that flexibility to track food in that way. So yeah, nutrition has evolved a lot for me and I didn't eat before. I did not eat. I didn't eat enough. And now I
Hmm.
actually eat. So that's been probably one of the biggest changes for me and just eating more balanced, having a better relationship with food. I mean, I used to feel bad about eating anything. I was like, I just need to eat chicken and broccoli all day and, no spices,
Hmm.
nothing, no flavor. So now I actually enjoy food and have a good relationship with food and I have that flexibility. So it's changed quite a bit for me.
Yes. And I like what you said too about the flexibility with macros and the fact that you are a mom.
Hmm.
And I'm a mom. And I think there's so many women who are resistant. We just talked about this today on our call, actually,
Yeah.
how if it's new to you, you're like, oh, the number crunching can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
But once you get it, like, hey, this is the meal structure. You want to be having regular meals. You want to be having your protein. You're going to have your kind of key foods. But hey, take the numbers, add some fun stuff in there, add some variety. And I think
Yeah.
once our clients start tracking, they realize, man, this is amazing because now you get a lot more knowledge about, oh, wow, this food has a ton of calories. It's like clean, but this acai bowl is like 600 calories. Or like, oh, I can actually have a ton of shrimp. That's amazing. And then through that process, it becomes a lot more sustainable. So then once you're not tracking macros, you're like, well, I've weighed this food a million times. I get it now. I
Yeah.
get that if I go to a restaurant, like, shrimp is a good choice. Okay, that cream sauce is probably super high in calories.
Yeah, so then you are able to build that skill of tracking food. You kind of understand what a meal looks like, and then you can translate that into intuitive eating. Because now I know how to intuitively eat, whereas before I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that came from tracking for many years. But like I said, I still like tracking my food. There's some people who love it, some people hate it, but it's one of those skills that you absolutely have to learn to get to that next level of intuitive eating. So you don't have to track your food for the rest of your life.
Exactly. And that's what we help our clients do. So in the beginning, like we were talking about this too, if someone doesn't have a meal structure, and like you said, you used to skip meals or not eat a lot, it can be helpful to have a meal plan where it's like, hey, this is what this could look like. Like if you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, this is what that looks like. And then eventually, once you've done that, you can intuitively eat. Because when someone goes right to intuitive eating, they could be intuitively eating 2 cups of rice and, no protein, no meat.
Yeah.
And that doesn't go hand in hand with getting the physique goal that they want, or the energy or the health goal or the digestion goal, or really anything, because nutrition is important. So I like that you said that you've shifted your perception of like that tracking can actually be beneficial and help you eat enough, that you're not under eating. You're not actually always restricting your food. And you're eating more now and you're getting better results.
Yeah, it was life-changing for me, tracking my food and seeing the macros and doing it that way. It's just amazing. So it's, I think, one of the most important tools that someone can learn to master nutrition.
Yeah. So, okay, thinking back to before you became a mom, what would you tell pre-mom Rachel about fitness?
I would say eat more and stop doing so much cardio. And just in terms of lifting heavy weights and working out in the gym, not working out for 2 hours at a time. Because once you hit that hour mark, 60 minutes, I think that's when cortisol starts to increase. And you're just stressing your body out at that point. So doing efficient workouts and lifting heavy within 30, 45 minutes is going to be more efficient than working out for 2 hours at a time.
I love it. I would tell myself the same thing.
Yeah, because I know you were doing the same thing. Lots of fitness classes. I used to go to your classes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. But you know what? Now I'm thinking it's not that those things are bad, but it depends how often and how much, not as your only fitness thing.
Exactly. There's a balance. And I just didn't have that balance before. I was just trying to go too excessive with everything, like excessive with diet and excessive with cardio and excessive with working out. It's just too much of everything. There just needs to be a balance. So yeah, like you said, it's not necessarily bad, but it has to be balanced and you need to be eating enough if you are working out more.
Exactly.
Because you can't be working out like an athlete and eating 1,200 calories a day.
Yes, exactly. And I think we need to hear that again and again. So, if someone's listening to this and they're kind of like, okay, great, but I don't know how to start. I'm feeling overwhelmed. What do you think is the first step someone can take in their fitness journey? Let's say I'm an overwhelmed mom coming to you and I'm saying, Rachel, I have belly fat. I'm exhausted. Where do I even start?
I would say the first place to start, again, is looking at your calendar and seeing when you can fit in workouts. And I would say aim for a minimum of 3 workouts a week for 30 minutes. And also, instead of doing fitness classes or cardio, switch to doing weights, working out in the gym or working out with dumbbells, and just doing specific guided workouts and applying progressive overload. But again, first thing is looking at your calendar, figuring out time-wise when you can actually fit these in. But I would say start with 3 workouts a week for 30 minutes. And that would be a good place to start. And then you can always build on that.
I like that tip because what I always tell people is first you need to get consistency, then you can focus on mastery.
Yes.
So doing something, to your point, like, hey, 30 minutes of something, we want that first.
Yeah.
But if you're already doing 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes of something and it's not the right something, that's the next step. Making sure what you're doing is like a program and not just a one-off workout, right?
Yes. And then building on that. So it starts small. Start with structure, even if it's something as simple as time blocking 20 minutes in the day for a walk. Like it doesn't have to necessarily be a workout, but even if you're just carving out that time to get in a walk or meal prep, maybe just one day of meal prep a week, there's just little things that you can do and then build on those habits. Like you said, you got to build the structure and consistency first.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I'll leave people with too, is I always tell moms, we're so tied to our kids' schedules and, hey, they have dance, they have soccer at this time. And we kind of live and die by that, but you have to create that same structure for yourself. So to your point, it's good to get in a routine of this is when I do my daily walk. This is when I do my nutrition prep. This is when I order groceries. And you want to repeat that as much as you can week to week. So when you apply that same structure that you have to your family schedule, to your own fitness, that's when you're going to see that it's repeatable and that, like you said, it's another important appointment. You're not just going to skip it.
Yeah, I find just having it in your calendar is really helpful because there's some people who don't use a calendar or some who use a calendar just for work, but not their personal things.
They got to start.
And it's like, okay, if work is important to you, why isn't your fitness and your health? That's the area where you need to be prioritizing for everything else to to get better too. So you're doing it for work, you can do it for yourself too.
Exactly. I love this. And remember, we're here to support you. Coach Rachel and I work together, and that's what we do. We help moms really manage their time and be able to achieve their results in a way that makes sense for their current lifestyle, not just their lifestyle that was applicable 10 years ago. So remember, you can always change your plan, but you never want to change the goal or don't want to compromise on the goal.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. I feel like we had such a good chat and got to know you, got to know your background. And I think this is going to help a lot of moms reduce that overwhelm and take action.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right. Can't wait to have you on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Get Sculpted. We hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to take the next step in your fitness journey. Remember, building your 2.0 body is a unique journey for you. It's about showing up for yourself consistently and not being perfect.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a review and tag us on social at getsculpted.ca. Your feedback helps us reach more women like you who are ready to cut through the noise and make lasting changes.
For more daily tips, inspiration, and behind-the-scenes content, follow us on Instagram and check out our handles in the show notes below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Get Sculpted. Until then, remember this. Getting sculpted isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter.